What's up, all my subscribers on my YouTube channel? Today is another video. Like I said, I'm gonna try and be a little more consistent with these, and I didn't want to just put anything out there, and I wanted to really think about the videos that I make and the content that I want to put out, and I really wanted it to be worthwhile watching, and also informative in a way. While I'm still trying to figure out where I want to take the YouTube thing, where I want to take my channel, I'm still just gonna be posting videos, not in a specific order, in a specific playlist. Just hoping to put information out there that, I sometimes study and write down, and just kind of putting information out there and facts out there that people can use. But anyway, enough of all that. If you don't know, I am actually going back to school. I've already been accepted and everything. I just have to get my paperwork in order and everything. I'm going to study psychology. And I believe psychology is one of the ways the world is changing that can be very helpful for human beings. I feel like we all have some mental, I'm not gonna say mental disorder, but I feel like we all psychologically go through things that we can't explain, or we all have questions that want answers but don't know how to get them. Psychology has always been a background in my life. I've always been interested in interacting with other people, wanting to know more about mental illnesses, disorders, why we interact the way we do, why we talk the way we talk to certain people, and just the overall function of the human brain and the body itself. But today I'm going to talk about a specific topic that I'm pretty sure most, if not everybody, does not have one, or has had one, and that's forming bad habits. I know it's kind of backwards on the screen, but it's all good. Forming bad habits. This came to me yesterday as I was sitting outside smoking, and I was thinking to myself, I have a habit of smoking. And it got my brain to running around thinking of all other habits. Like, people have a habit of, there are habits, all kind of habits that I don't even know about. There's drinking habits, smoking habits, sex habits, cleaning habits, all kind of habits, just to name a few. But I didn't want to stick to just one habit. I wanted to find out what forms bad habits in general. Is it environment? Is it mentally? Is it emotionally? Is it, what you were raised up doing? Is it just out of necessity? And I just found, I haven't done a whole paper on this or anything. I just found a couple key facts, websites that I, wrote down and wanted to kind of get some facts in before I made any videos or anything like that. So, number one, in forming bad habits, the one thing you have to realize is when new habits become automatic and are enacted with minimum conscious awareness. So that means that basically means with a bad habit or a good habit, it's in general. Let's say you find yourself doing, let's take smoking for instance. Let's say you smoke one cigarette, and that's kind of how it starts, is by smoking that one cigarette, and then another day, you don't even think about it, you just pick up another cigarette. With minimum conscious awareness, you're not really aware of what you're doing, you just do it. You know what I mean? It's like it's almost out of necessity, almost, to start smoking a cigarette if you are a smoker, or smoking weed, whichever. But you're aware of what you're doing, but your conscience isn't aware of telling you, let's not smoke today, or you don't want to smoke a cigarette. Your brain is automatic. Your brain is just telling you, oh, that's a cigarette. You smoke. Let's smoke a cigarette. There's also a loop that I found in my research called the habit loop. And the habit loop is basically a neurological loop that governs any habit. The habit loop consists of three elements: a cue, a routine, and a reward. Understanding these elements can help change bad habits. So let's break that down. A cue, let's think of a cue like when let's say you're on set of a movie, and somebody says cue, that means you go ahead and start. So that's kind of the starting point with it, is the cue. So you have to find out what's the cue to your habit. What is gonna spark that thing in your brain to make you want to go do that habit that you're trying to quit. A routine. If you formed a bad habit and you've gotten a routine of doing that certain thing every day, it's going to be hard to break a bad habit. So you kind of have to find a better routine to help break that old habit. Not saying that you're gonna, be doing the same bad habit, but it's also good to try and throw in something more productive and more positive towards that bad habit. I'm not saying it's gonna be a day process. I'm not saying it's gonna be a 2-day process, but it is a process. And if you are willing to break bad habits, then you have to be willing to sneak in other good habits to help push out that bad habit. And the reward. Usually, when you have a bad habit, there's a pleasure or a reward at the end of it. So you have to think, is my reward greater than what I'm trying to get out of it? You already know what the reward is, but if you're trying to break bad habits, you have to really break down the whole process. If I start now, I'll be going through this motion right here. I'll be doing this and then the reward, but then the clarity kicks in. I didn't really want to do that in the first place. So you have to think, is the reward better than what you're going to feel after? Just something to think about. What else? What can you do to change a bad habit? 1, identify your habits. What are your bad habits? How many bad habits do you have? How bad are they? How bad do you want to quit them? Also, in identifying your bad habits, it's good to write them down, put them on your wall, put them on a sticky note, and try to observe and look up how you can tackle some of those bad habits that you have. Find the impact of your habit. How does this habit impact you? Is it having a negative impact on you? When I say negative, I mean, is this having do you have a bad feeling after you've done your bad habit or after you've come out of the state of your bad habit? Like I said, bad habits can be almost anything. It can be sexual. It can be thinking mentally. It can be overeating. It can be cleaning. It can be sleeping. It can be almost anything. Bad habit, too much of a good thing can also be a bad habit. Sleeping too much can be a bad habit. Drinking too much can be a bad habit. Eating too much can be a bad habit. So you have to find the impact of your habit. What's impacting you when you're doing this habit. Why is this habit? Is it healthy? Is it deterring you from what you need to do? Is it unmotivating, or is it just something that you do just out of necessity? Again, choose an alternative. Start looking up ways to find an alternative to your bad habit. There's million alternatives. I mean, it's easy to say it than to be done. And it's harder to choose that bad habit than to, choose an alternative. But if in the long run, you'll find yourself accomplishing a lot more when you really try to deter yourself from that bad habit. And you'll find yourself having a good sense of feeling that you could have gave in, but you didn't give in to that habit, and that you chose an alternative. And that good feeling, you want to keep that going. So every time you feel like you want to fall back into that bad habit, you'll think about an alternative to it. Visualize change. Best way I could tell you, I have a hard time visualizing, so I can't really sit here and say, I visualize change all the time. But it's best to use your imagination to the best of your abilities. God gave us a brain to imagine it for a reason. So if you're in a state where you are in about to break or do whatever you are about to do as your bad habit, imagine yourself not doing that habit, but imagine yourself doing something better than that bad habit. Imagine yourself being free of that bad habit and doing something more constructive and more productive. Or if you're thinking short term and you feel the need to go back to your bad habit, just try to be more productive in something else. Automatically switch your brain focus to something else. Do something else. Pick up your phone. Distract your mind. Do something. Remove triggers. If you have to, log out of social media, log out of anywhere. Don't be around people that smoke or drink or do what you're trying to, strain away from. It's okay to separate yourself for a little bit. If you need time to detox, you need time to really lock yourself away just to, isolate yourself. Just so if you have to isolate yourself, that's a means of breaking a bad habit, so you won't have to fall back into the same routine. Because once you fall back into the same routine and the same bad habits, you start feeling a little bit of guilt. Well, not guilt, but you start feeling ashamed and bad of it, which is nothing to be ashamed of. It's just the fact that you want change and you really want to change. It's just the body needs to change. But yeah, remove triggers, visualize change, avoid negative talks and thinking. Always, like I said, it's easier to do it than to say it. But if you visualize a real change, like a practical change, not something extravagant like I'm gonna go get $1 million tomorrow, but if you visualize something that's really practical and within your means, starting off small, then you know, you can help that. Avoiding talks with people that help that bad habit or encourage your bad habit, you don't want to be around them, because then they're gonna enable you into thinking that this is okay, and it's not okay if you're really trying to make a big change to some bad habits. I always try to think positive. I know it's hard to think positive. I have a hard time thinking positive sometimes, but I always try to look at my notes, look at my sticky notes for positive messages, and you know, I always try to just rely on those a lot. And not saying that I don't have my struggles, because I do, but it's always, you know, some struggle is good to let you know that it's still a fight, but it's a fight worth fighting for. But that's really all I have for today. I didn't want to spend too much time. I know I, got about 11 good minutes of talking on here, but hopefully the information I gave y'all and the topic that I chose today was a good one. I hope y'all tune in. I'm gonna try to upload this the best and quickest way possible, but you know, I'm gonna try to do some more videos like this with information. Like I said, I'm getting back into school into psychology, and I really want to try to get a head start on a lot of things. And I think this is the best way for me to do it, is to use my YouTube channel and use, you know, what I find interesting as far as mental health and disorders, and you know, just all kind of things that deal with psychology. And I hope y'all enjoyed. I hope y'all like, subscribe, and I hope y'all share the video, comment, let me know how I'm doing. Let me know what videos I can make to you know, help reach everybody that, you know, views my page. But that's all I got for today. Try to get back to work on some more stuff. Again, hope you have a blessed day. Y'all enjoy. Appreciate it.